When I came to, I was in my car, parked behind an abandoned church I had never seen before. In my lap was a note written in my own handwriting that said, "Don't let her touch you next time." I matched with her on a Sunday afternoon. Her name was Violet. No last name, blonde hair, sharp cheekbones, unnaturally green eyes. Her bio was short. Let's skip the small talk. Something about that line was strangely appealing. It felt like she wasn't there to impress. Just cut to the chase. We started talking. She was confident, but never pushy. Knew obscure music references. Said she hated texting and preferred to meet people in person. That should have been a red flag, but I took it as boldness. After a few days, she suggested drinks at a quiet rooftop bar I had never heard of before. Said it had the best view of the city nobody ever looks at. I should have Googled it. Should have checked if it even existed online. But I didn't. I picked her up around 8:30. She wore a deep red dress and a black coat. When she got in the car, it smelled like cold flowers and copper. She didn't speak much during the drive. Just smiled to herself like she already knew something I didn't. The bar was real, but barely. It looked like it had been converted from a forgotten hotel rooftop. Only 3 other people were there, all sitting alone at different tables, staring out at nothing. We sat near the edge. The city lights were behind us. All I could see ahead was a wall of mist crawling across the rooftops. She ordered something I had never heard of. A violet-colored cocktail that matched her name. Then she told the waiter to bring me whatever he thinks I need. It tasted like licorice and something bitter beneath it. I drank maybe half before I started to feel off. You know that moment right before sleep when your body sinks but your mind jolts? That's how it felt, except I was wide awake. My limbs felt far away. Her voice sounded like it was underwater. She leaned forward. Then, her eyes almost glowing in the low light, "You dream loud," she said. "That's why I picked you." The next moment I remember, I was waking up, not in my bed, not at home, in my car, parked behind a crumbling graffiti-covered church that looked like it hadn't been touched in 20 years. My keys were still in the ignition. The dome light was on, and in my lap, there was a folded piece of paper, lined notebook paper. Torn at the edges, my handwriting, "Don't let her touch you next time." I stared at it for maybe a full minute, my pulse pounding in my ears. The letters were shaky, but undeniably mine. Same looping T's, same broken E's. I checked my phone. It was 2:47 a.m. No missed calls. One text from a number not in my contacts. "You left too early, no name." No response when I called. I drove home in silence, his heart thudding the whole time. Every sound, the click of my blinker, the creak of the seatbelt, everything felt too loud. I spent the next day in a daze. Tried to convince myself it had been a prank, that I had blacked out and somehow driven myself. But the more I tried to remember, the more nothing there was. No fragments. It's gone. And then the dreams started. At first, they were just flashes. Her face, too close to mine. Her hand reaching toward my chest. The sound of something scraping against stone. Then, on the 3rd night, I had a full dream. I was sitting in that rooftop bar again. But the city behind her was burning. Smoke in the sky. Ash falling like snow. Violet leaned across the table, her fingers tracing a circle on my hand. "I almost had you," she said, smiling. "You're stronger than the others." When I woke up, my hand was sore. I went to the bathroom and turned on the light. There was a bruise on the back of my hand. A faint, circular outline, like something had pressed down hard. It's perfectly round to be an accident. I lost it. I tried finding her online. The Tinder match was gone. Her profile, deleted. The bar, no listing, no address, even the church. When I returned during the day, it wasn't there. I swore I parked by it, but the lot behind that block was just an empty field. Overgrown, fenced off, no tire tracks. I even checked my dash cam. Nothing. Just black footage between 9:12 p.m. and 2:46 a.m. No lights, no voices. Just nothing, but the dreams kept coming every night. I was closer, sitting across from her, sometimes standing behind her, One night, I dreamt she was asleep in my bed, whispering my name like she was chewing it. The note stayed in my wallet. I carried it like some kind of charm. I thought maybe if I held on to it, it would protect me, but a week ago, I found another note tucked inside my jacket pocket. Same handwriting, only 3 words: she remembers you. I don't sleep much anymore. I keep the lights on. I moved apartments, deleted every dating app, changed my number, but the dreams haven't stopped. And last night, in my dream, I didn't see her face. I saw mine sitting across the table, smiling back like I had become the next one, waiting. He said my childhood dog's name during our first date. I never told him. I never posted it. And he said it like he had heard it bark. I matched with him on a Thursday night. His name was Owen. From the start, he seemed different. Not in a red flag way. It's just unusually thoughtful. He wasn't like the usual parade of guys on Tinder. His messages were curious, respectful, and funny in an old school kind of way. It felt like he actually read what I wrote in my bio instead of just looking at my pictures. His profile said he was new in town. I live in a mid-sized city where that's not uncommon, especially with tech companies rotating people around all the time. He said he worked remotely, liked reading, hiking, and connecting with people who still look up from their phones. It sounded cheesy, but coming from him, it worked. After a week of messaging, we agreed to meet for coffee. He picked a little corner cafe downtown I'd never been to before. Quiet, full of plants and secondhand books on the windowsills. It felt like something out of a movie. He looked just like his photos. Dark, curly hair, pale blue eyes. His smile was easy and warm. We talked for over 2 hours. And then, right as we were getting up to leave, he said, "You remind me of someone. Your laugh, like when you used to watch cartoons on Saturdays with Ranger curled up on your lap." I stopped mid-step. "Wait, what did you say?" I asked, my heart suddenly thudding. He blinked, still smiling. "It's your dog, Ranger. You said you had one, right?" I hadn't. I'd never mentioned Ranger. Not in our chats, not on social media. And Ranger wasn't just some dog. I'd had him when I was 7. He died when I was 11. We had no photos of him online. He wasn't in my public Facebook or Instagram. I think that part of my life was years before any digital footprint. I tried to play it off, laugh it off, but my mind was already racing. After that date, I should have stopped talking to him, but I didn't, because despite that bizarre moment, he was perfect. I told myself he probably just guessed, or maybe I'd mentioned a dog and forgotten. I gaslit myself into believing it was coincidence. We kept talking, went on more dates. Then he did it again. We were walking through a park when a couple passed by, pushing a baby in a stroller. He glanced at me and said, "You'd be a good mom. Like the one you used to pretend to be when you lined up your dolls in the basement and made them do homework, right?" Stopped cold, okay? I hadn't thought about that in decades. I used to set up a fake classroom in my parents' basement and pretend to teach invisible students when I was alone. No one knew that, not even my parents. This time, I didn't laugh it off. I confronted him. "How do you know that?" I asked. He looked genuinely confused. "You told me, didn't you?" I shook my head slowly. Then his face changed. Just for a second. Something flickered behind his eyes. It wasn't menace. It was awareness, like I had caught him slipping. "I must have dreamed it," he said lightly. "You know when you talk to someone enough, they show up in your dreams. Maybe you told me there. We didn't speak for the rest of the walk." That night, I tried to track everything I had ever posted about myself online. Scoured old blogs, tweets, Facebook memories, everything. Nothing about Ranger, nothing about the dolls. And then things started happening in my apartment. Small things, but wrong things. The toothpaste cap off when I always put it back on. My bathroom rug flipped upside down. It's a TV on a different input when I got home. I began to think I was losing it, till I found the post-it note. It was stuck to my fridge. Pale yellow, faint ink, curled edges, like it had been there too long. "You were sleep talking again," said "You missed Ranger." My knees went weak. I hadn't had anyone over. I live alone. No guests, no roommates, no family nearby. I called Owen. I needed to hear his voice. I needed to ask, no, beg him to tell me what was going on. He answered on the first ring. "I'm sorry," he said, before I said anything. "You weren't supposed to remember." "Remember what?" I demanded. Silence. Owen, then a sigh, heavy, tired, and what he said next chilled me to the core. I don't know why it's always me. I just wake up knowing people, one person at a time, their memories, their secrets, things I shouldn't know. If I talk to them, it gets worse. I see more, hear more. I can't stop it. I didn't speak. "You were in a dream," he whispered, "before we ever matched. You were sitting on the floor, crying over a shoebox with dog tags in it. And I felt it. I woke up, and I knew Ranger's name." "You're lying," I said, my voice trembling. I wish I was. That was the last time I heard from him. His profile vanished. His number disconnected. It was like he had never existed. I went to the cafe where we first met. No one there remembered him. They didn't have any record of him making a reservation. Weeks passed. I tried to move on, told myself it was some elaborate manipulation. Maybe he was a stalker who dug up obscure info about me. But I never found any breach in my accounts. No hidden cameras, no evidence of entry, and no explanation for the voice I started hearing at night. It always comes just as I'm about to fall asleep, whispering from the corner of the room. "You remind me of someone?" Every night, the same words, the same calm, fond tone. And now, sometimes, I answer back, because a part of me remembers something too. A face in a dream, smiling, watching me, long before we ever met. I didn't realize the girl I matched with was missing, till I saw her face on a milk carton in my mom's fridge, and she was still messaging me. It started on a Tuesday night. It's one of those long, quiet evenings when the world feels weirdly distant, like everything is a second behind. I was lying on my couch, half watching a crime documentary and half scrolling through Tinder out of boredom more than anything. I recently moved into a new apartment in a smaller town after a rough breakup, and I hadn't really met anyone yet. That's when her profile popped up. Allie, 24, long dark hair, green eyes, a natural smile that looked candid, not posed. Every picture had that slightly vintage quality, like they were taken with a mid-2010s phone. It made her stand out. What caught me more than her looks was that I recognized her face. Not personally, but that weird flickering feeling in the back of your brain when you see something that doesn't belong. Her last picture was just her sitting on a swing in a foggy park. Caption, "Still waiting." It made my chest tighten a little, but I swiped right anyway. It was a match. She messaged me first, just a simple, "You look like someone who listens." We talked. She was odd, not in a creepy way at first, just kind of behind the times. She didn't use emojis, never referenced pop culture newer than 2018, and never answered direct questions with direct answers. When I asked what she did for work, she said, "I'm in between places right now." When I asked where she lived, she replied, "Close, you'll see." Most people would have unmatched her, but something about the way she typed, almost poetic, careful, made me want to keep talking. I couldn't explain it. It was like a slow pool, like standing on the edge of a deep pool and wondering how far down it goes. That same week, I went to visit my mom for dinner. She still lives in my childhood home a few towns over. Keeps the same habits, including buying those weird, nostalgic milk cartons that still feature missing kids on the side. And there it was. Her face. Not similar. Not a cousin or look-alike. It was her. Allie. Same dimples. Same photo from her profile. Missing since 2019. Age when missing. 19. Last seen at a park near a train station. Presumed dead. I stared at it so long, my mom asked if I was okay. I lied, said the milk was expired. I went home in a daze. I didn't text her that night, but the next morning I had a new message waiting from her. Did you sleep okay? I felt you dreaming. I froze. I hadn't told her anything about where I lived, hadn't even shared my last name. I checked the chat history. I was right, nothing personal revealed. She didn't follow me on any other platform either. And yet, she was suddenly replying, before I even opened the app. Later that day, I started to notice strange things in my apartment. Small, barely there signs at first. My bathroom mirror was fogged when I got home from work, even though I hadn't used a shower. A single strand of long, dark hair on my pillow. The smell of old perfume, floral and powdery, like something my grandmother might wear. I told myself I was being paranoid, that the milk carton was a coincidence, a weird, unfortunate match of faces, but I couldn't shake it. I started digging. I searched for an Amali Lennox, and there she was. News articles, candlelight vigils, forums, still posting updates. She disappeared, walking home from a college party. A phone had been found in a trash bin 2 blocks away. No leads, no witnesses. Her parents still updated a Facebook page every few months. But here's the thing, the pictures on her real-life missing posters, they were the same ones on Tinder. No updates, no new images. This meant whoever made the Tinder profile was using only photos that were public 5 years ago. I thought maybe it was some sick prank. But when I messaged the account to get testing, Ichi responded instantly. I typed, "Where did you take that swing photo?" She replied, "Same place I went missing." I felt a lump in my throat. I typed, "Who are you?" She didn't respond in text this time. Instead, a live photo was sent, the kind that moves a second when you press it. I watched it. It was night. Trees all around. The swing creaked in slow motion. And for one brief frame, a shadow moved across the screen, like someone standing just off camera. But what chilled me most was the swing, because I recognized it. There's a park less than 5 minutes from my apartment, a rundown, half-forgotten place with one old swing set. I grabbed my jacket and ran there. I don't know why. Maybe part of me wanted it to be a joke, a chance to scream at someone, something real I could confront. It was foggy when I arrived. The air was damp. The swing set stood silent, unmoving, but in the dirt below, one of the swing's footprints, bare feet, deep, fresh, leading into the woods, didn't follow them. When I got home, my front door was open. Nothing was stolen, but on the coffee table sat one of those small, printed Polaroid photos. It showed me sitting on my couch, holding my phone, taken through the window behind me. I don't have neighbors that close, and I don't own a Polaroid camera. That night, I deleted Tinder. I blocked the number. I filed a police report. They told me the account was untraceably was a burner. The photos matched public images, no location data, nothing they could use. For a while, things were quiet, until last week. I got a letter in the mail, no return address. Side was a printout, one of those missing child posters, folded neatly. It was her again. But this time, someone had scratched out her name and written mine in red pen, and below it, the words, "Still waiting." I've since moved again. Changed my name online. Don't use dating apps. I check the locks 3 times a night. But sometimes, just before sleep, I hear my phone buzz with a notification. And every time, I'm terrified it'll be her. Still out there, still waiting. It's for me. So let me know what you think about this one in the comments down below. Also, do UNT forget to subscribe if you have UNT already? Because we have new videos coming out every single day. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.